Good day, and welcome to the UFC 199 conference call. Today's conference is being recorded. At this time, I would like to turn the conference over to Mr. Dave Schaller. Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Vicky. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the UFC 199 media conference call. UFC 199 takes place Saturday, June 4th from the Fabulous Forum in Los Angeles, live on pay-per-view, 10 p.m. in the East, 7 in the West, prelims on Fox Sports 1 at 8 Eastern, and we also have our Fight Pass card kicking off at 6:15 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a lively call today as we have our champion Luke Rockhold, challenger Michael Bisping, champion Dominic Cruz, and contender Uriah Faber. With that being said, Vicky, let's go ahead and open up to the first question.
If you would like to ask a question, that is *1 on your telephone keypad. We'll go first to Jeffrey Harris with 411 Manium MMA.
Thank you very much for having us today, and thank you for joining us. First question for Luke Rockhold. Luke, this week on the MMA Hour, Michael Bisping is claiming you and your corner were panicked when you fought the first time after the first round of your fight. What do you make of him saying things like that, and do you have any response to what he had to say there?
Michael can build him up in any way, shape, or form he wants for this fight. Obviously, I focused in and did what I needed to do coming into that second round. If Michael could talk half as good as he fights, I mean, if the other way around. Yes.
Let's get it right, buddy. If I could talk.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
You tried to take me down in the first round. If it was going so well, then why did the big kickboxer try and take me down? And then you headbutted me, which opened up a door, which changed the course of events. But please, go ahead.
Mike. Here's the deal. If you would have took the bet, I would have took you out in the first round. But you, being the man you are, couldn't take my bet.
What bet?
I'll finish you. You know exactly what bet I'm talking about, Mike. I put it on the table.
Bet? I have no idea what you're talking about.
You're too pussy to take it.
I'm too pussy to take it. Yeah, just like I'm too pussy to take on your fucking lanky ass on a 2-week notice. Nothing about you scares me, mate. I will fight you. I will bet you. I will do whatever you want to do, mate, in any competitive arena, and I have no idea what kind of bet you are talking about. I don't even think you know. You don't know what you're talking about.
I bet you for your purse. I bet you to switch purses. I bet you my whole purse if I couldn't finish you in the first round. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Well, you probably will want my purse. My purse is at least double yours.
I'll be making a lot more than you on this fight. I'll be making a lot more than you.
I don't think so.
I'm pretty damn positive about that.
All right, buddy. All right, cool. Well, you be positive, but I'm sitting there in a 5-bedroom mansion, pal. You sit in your little shitty apartment. All right, next question.
All right, thank you for all of that. Dominic Cruz, this is a trilogy fight that's 5 years in the making, but when you're fighting Uriah Faber again, do you have to take the emotion out of the equation, especially, earlier this year he was making accusations against you about accusing you of, body changes you're going through. Does that make that more personal? Does that give you extra incentive in this fight, or do you have to take all that emotion out of it for when you're fighting Faber for a third time?
No, emotion is important to have in fights. I mean, that's part of what fighting is having emotion. It's just about, using it where you need it. And, all the accusations and whatnot were just him talking.
Accusation?
That's what he does.
You look skinny fat. Is that an accusation?
Yeah, it pretty much is. Well, it's not. That wasn't the accusation that the interviewer was asking me about. Yeah, look at
same accusation.
We're talking about somebody who's coming back from 3 ACL injuries. I trained maybe a quarter of the time in 4 years of anybody else, and I came back and won. So that's all that matters is that I won. I'll be in great shape for this fight, period. And I'll look real good just for you, since you're worried about my physique, Faber. I'll look real good for you when I'm beating you up.
I know you stepped it up. You did the sit-ups. I have seen that. But I'll say this. You should be on America's Dumbest Criminals. I say skinny fat with glove handles and man boobs, and you go accuse yourself of taking steroids. Then you get best friends with TJ Dillashaw, who you guys are now best friends. We'll see who stabs who first. It's comedy,
Come on,
bro.
Man.
No one's saying
Come on, man.
you look different.
Listen to what you said.
You look different.
And
you're getting older.
why would the interviewer ask me about exactly what you said? And now you're trying to twist it and say I accused myself. You're a moron. The things you say just make no sense.
I never used the word PD steroids. I said you got back fat and your body is getting old.
You can't talk to this guy. He just talks nonsense. Nothing he says is real or has any validity behind it.
And for Uriah, is there a lot of emotion going into this fight for you? This was a fight you were originally scheduled to have, 5 years ago, and this is a man you've beaten before. He's beaten you. So is there a lot of emotion going into this for you as well?
Oh, man, it's joy. I can't wait. I'm sure he feels the same way. We've been wanting to punch each other in the face for a long time, and going to get that opportunity, and, I feel so good, but, honestly, since the last time we fought, I think I've had maybe, 12 to 14 fights, and this is the most prepared I've felt. I feel great, and I hope he's the most prepared he's been because I want to take out the best Dominic Cruz, regardless of how skinny fat he looks or whatever. I know the mind is there and the technique is there, and I'll be looking to take that head off.
And last question for Bisping. Do you think getting this fight on short notice, do you think on any level this maybe gives you an advantage, even though you fought Rockhold before, because Rockhold wasn't originally preparing to face you? So do you think this, there could be some unexpected things you might do in this fight that he might not be prepared for that could give you an advantage?
Yeah, I absolutely believe that it's an advantage, to be honest. As long as I've been fighting now, this is the first time I've had a short notice fight, and I wish this happened to be longer because I would realize I don't need these long, drawn-out 8-week camps. I've done this my entire life. The technique is there, the skill is there, and the conditioning and the endurance is there. I just fought Anderson Silva for 5 rounds not too long ago. I started training. I'm flying through 5 rounds super easy. I'm going to go into this fight very, very fresh, very strong. After an 8-week camp, it's draining. You lose muscle. You lose strength. That ain't going to happen in this fight. On top of that, I know Luke. We've sparred. Listen, he beat me the first time. God bless him, but every fight is different. And it's not like I'm going into unknown waters. I know exactly what to expect. And, the short camp will be beneficial, believe you me.
Thank you, everyone.
And we'll go next to Damon Martin with Fox Sports.
Hey, guys. First question is for Mike. Mike, obviously you have fought Luke before. You've trained with Luke before. After the result of the last fight, what is the biggest difference? What puts you over the top? What makes you the champion next weekend?
Well, listen, the first round we went out and I was getting in and out. I was landing my right hand. I was landing some kicks, and I was too fast for him. That's what forced him to try and get a takedown on me, and then he headbutted me. And, that was obscuring my vision a bit. And then, the second round we went out, and then, fair play. Listen, he threw a beautiful kick. Luke is a great fighter. Listen, I don't wish any ill will to him, and I recognize what I'm up against. Luke is a hell of a fighter, and he's got excellent kicks. He threw a good kick. It connected with my head, and I went down. And he locked up a nice guillotine. It was good for him. But as I've said many times, every fight is different, and I'm very comfortable in there with him. I know my speed can match him. I'm going to come with a different game plan this time. And, he isn't Superman. We're all just humans. We're all capable of being knocked out. I've been stopped before. Luke's been stopped before. So it can easily happen again. So I'm going in there now knowing what I did wrong last time. I'm looking to rectify those mistakes. I'm very confident. And, of course, Luke is going to be confident also. He's the champion. He's gone on since he beat me. He beat Machida. He beat Chris Weidman. But this is a mental thing. Fighting is, of course, an extremely physical thing, but mainly it's mental. And I've learned a lot about myself, and I've made huge leaps and bounds in the mental side of fighting. And all that will be on display. And my calmness and my confidence will be, that will get me that belt in a week of time, believe you me. As I said, nothing about Luke scares me. It really doesn't.
Mike, obviously, this fight takes place almost exactly 10 years to the day after you debuted in the UFC. You worked so hard to get to a title shot. Is there any sense of, kind of a do-or-die attitude here? Because, it did take you so much to finally get here. Do you feel like there is, in a good way, maybe a pressure to go out there and really win because you had to work so hard to finally get here?
Listen, all the pressure is on Luke. it's very, very free mentally. I'm just going to go out there and do my thing. I have no pressure. I know I'm expected to lose. The world is expecting me to lose this fight, and that's so nice. That feels good. I haven't had 10 weeks of evaluating footage and going through the emotional roller coasters, feeling confident, feeling negative, feeling confident again, and then negative again. I haven't got time for that shit. I'm very, very confident. I'm in great shape. My weight is perfect. I'm expected to lose. That's awesome. Because I'm going to go out there and I'm going to shock the world. I'm going to swing for the fences. I'm going to push that guy up against the fence, and I'm going to unload with everything I got. Right in his face. And, I think he gets the job done. I do. I've stopped many guys in the past, and I believe I can stop Luke. Listen, as I said a moment ago, he's a great fighter. He really is. I'm not underestimating him, but I've been in there before. I know I can do better.
And with that said, Mike, obviously you showed a lot more of your game. We saw what you're capable of fighting Anderson Silva, arguably the greatest of all time. I'm curious, out of Luke's last couple of fights, what have you thought of his performances, and what have you thought of his recent recent wins? Maybe the win over Chris Weidman.
Yeah, listen, I'm not going to sit here and say negative things. He's done great. He absolutely destroyed Machida, and he had a great outing against Weidman. Weidman's a tough SOB, he really is. And Luke went out there and dominated and won the fight. I expected him to do that. I really did. But this is about me. It doesn't matter who the opponent is next week. It could be anybody in the roster. The fact is that I win this fight next week. This is a lifetime's work that's coming down to this. And it really, in many ways, it is do or die. It is for me. And believe you me, that makes me 10 times more dangerous.
And one question for you, Luke. When I talked to you about the Weidman fight before it was made, I asked you the question, does it get harder to get up for a fight that you just had, right? What is the biggest motivation for fighting Mike this time? Is it just defending the title? Is it, what is the biggest motivation considering you do have a win over him previously?
Anytime you put in a full training camp like this, I want to have an end result. I want to keep myself competing and obviously making dollars. So going out there and getting to shut Mike's mouth, getting to shut all these guys' mouth. All these guys have made excuses. Mike, Chris Weidman, Jacare. But guess what? I beat them all. And I'm going to beat them all again. One at a time. They're all going to get theirs. Mike, he's a tough dude. He's got balls. He took this fight. But this will not be his fairy tale. This will be his swan song. This will be the end of it. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to dominate this guy like he's never been before. I believe I beat him. He had the most one-sided fight of his career last time we were out. It's going to be that much worse. Hey, man. He beat. Hey, you earned this. You earned this. I'll give you credit. You did earn this fight. You beat a champion. You beat a champion in Anderson Silva, and you would have probably won that fight handily if you didn't complain about your mouthpiece and get clipped. But you will not be a champion. I will humiliate you next week. I will humiliate. Mark my words. Humiliation. It's going to be so one-sided. You're going to be. Oh my God! It's going to be something special. I'm going to pull up something special.
You're only humiliating yourself. Okay.
Just watch.
Spell
watch the
humiliation.
fight.
Go ahead.
You'll be able to.
I'll give you a hand. H-U-M. Finish it off. Go ahead.
Thanks, guys.
I can't do it. Listen, I've got nothing against you, Luke, personally. We're both competitors, okay? We're in the same weight class. Yeah, you hold a victory over me. I want to rectify that. I wish you all the best. Listen, we've got mutual friends. I'm sure you're a great guy. But for me, I have to win this belt. I have to beat you. I get chance of redemption. You're very, very confident that you're going to humiliate me. Listen, do not underestimate me, my friend, okay? People... All right, you did well. You beat me once. Try and pull that off twice. That's never happened before. It will never happen. Believe you me. If you saw the way I was performing in the gym right now, you wouldn't be so sure about it.
I know exactly who you are. I know exactly who all these guys are. Okay. I'm not underestimating you, Mike. I know exactly who you are, and I know exactly what I'm going to do. That's the difference between me and you and the rest of these guys. I know what I'm going to do. All you guys think you're going to do.
What are you going to do? You're going to kick me in the head? Listen, mate, you got a very limited game. You got a good left.
I don't need my kicks. I don't need my kicks.
All right. Well,
I don't need my jiu-jitsu.
Come on.
I'll knock you out with my my bare hands.
Ooh, your bare hands. You're so scary.
Mike, it's gonna be a bad night for you, my friend.
Okay. All right. Cool. We'll see about that. When you're on the floor and you're looking up at the stars and you shit, I just lost my belt to a guy that came in on 2 weeks' notice and took your belt that you worked so hard for on 2 weeks' fucking notice, mate. How's that gonna feel?
I love it.
How's that gonna feel?
I love it. I love it.
And whooped your ass. That's what's gonna happen.
Keep believing it, man. I love the pressure, and I love shutting your mouth.
It's a good time to go to Brett Okamoto with ESPN.com as he joins the Rockhold and Bisping podcast.
Once again, that is star 1 on your telephone keypad, and just a reminder to place your phone on mute if you are not speaking.
Am I up? You guys can hear me?
Brett, go ahead.
Hey, question for Luke. Luke, was there ever a time in your life, really, whether it was when you were younger in the sport or when you were in Strike Force, so you wouldn't have run into Michael Bisping? Were you ever a Michael Bisping fan? Like, did you ever feel that way about him? Did you respect the way he fought? I mean, what was your feelings towards him when you knew you guys weren't going to cross paths anytime soon?
He's a clever cat. He gets you excited to watch his fights, and he fights with heart. He fights with heart, and he goes out there and fights for the best of his ability. And he seemingly has fought fair for most of his career. So I respect guys in that manner because he'll step up and he'll take opportunities like he was given just now, and not a lot of guys will do that. So he's a tough dude, and he'll step to the plate. That's where I lie with Bisping. He's gonna give you your money's worth verbally. I'm gonna give you your money's worth physically, and in the end we're all gonna win, except obviously Bisping. That is.
When everybody knows how long Bisping has been in this sport, and he hasn't gotten that title shot yet, and so now here it's coming 10 years after he made his UFC debut. When you beat him in 2014, when you left that arena, I'm sure you don't really think about things in this kind of sense, but did you probably have a feeling like, I just put the final nail in that guy's coffin in terms of getting a title shot? Like, did you feel that you had probably made it so that he would never get to a title shot at that point?
I didn't think of that in that manner. I thought about my own self and putting myself in line for a title. I don't really think about putting guys away for good. Mike's a tough dude, resilient, came back, and he's worked his way back up, and I think he's earned this shot. I think he's the most credible guy. I mean, Jacare had a questionable fight against Yoel. I thought he won, and he came back and had a nice victory, so he's right there. But Mike is right there. If you look at the lay of the land, he deserves this shit. But
Mike,
he's going to deserve the shit I'm going to give it to him, too.
And then one for you, Mike, and I got on the call late, so apologies if you already spoke about this. But can you just give us an idea of what you've been doing since your last fight? You were filming a movie. Were you still kind of training during that time? Were you looking at it like as a break, some time off? What has been like your training regimen over the last, since you fought, really?
Yeah, well, I've been a student of martial arts, and I've been an athlete pretty much my entire life. I started training martial arts at 8 years old. And this is what I do. I look after myself. And first and foremost, I'm a fighter, right? I've always been a fighter, and that's a mindset, okay? Outside of that, there's the whole athlete side of it, okay, where you lift weights, you stay in shape, you eat well. Of course, I try and look after myself. I try and live a healthy lifestyle. I try and eat good food. I try and have early nights. Of course, I'm a young man and I fail at that sometimes. But, for the most part, I've been looking after myself. Yes, I was filming a movie, but being a vain, arrogant bastard that I am, I wanted to make sure I looked good. So I was running every day. I was lifting weights. I was working out with a striking coach up there called Jorge Blanco, who trains GSP and Rashad and people like that. So I've been doing some jiu-jitsu up there at Grant's MMA. So, I've been looking after myself. I've been taking over. I got this shot, and listen, I'm as surprised as anybody, but the muscle memory is there. And I got into the gym, and I did 5-5, I did some pads, I did some running, and then every day I thought, I'm not in shape. So I did 5-5, I thought, wow, that was great. Okay, tomorrow with the sparring, that'll be the real test. I did the sparring, wow, I'm like, great, amazing. I thought, no, the circuit training will be the real test. And I breathed through the circuit training. So, believe you me, my weight is right where I want it to be. My condition is fantastic. I'm performing better than ever. I've got more snaps in my punches. I'm hitting harder. I'm stronger than what I normally am after an 8-week camp. So, listen, write me up all you want, Brett Okamoto, but I'm here, buddy. And listen, not everybody has been able to build himself up to number one contender once. I've done it 4 times, okay? And that speaks volumes about my testament, my fighting spirit, my determination. And this is my time. This is my time, believe you me. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to take it with both hands.
Yeah, and you've said that consistently. Like, even after the loss to Rockhold, if I'm remembering the press comments correctly, of course, guys were asking you, where do you go from here? What's the next step from here? And you were still talking about a title at that point. Did you feel like a lot of people were writing you off at that moment, like this is the fight that a lot of people are going to give up on me as a number one contender? Did you get that sense from people? And if so, how did you get it?
Do you think I sit there at night and wonder about what fucking so-called journalists in the MMA world like yourself think about my career? That doesn't happen, my friend. I lost the fight. That's the way it goes. Luke's a tough son of a bitch. He was the Strikeforce champion, You dust yourself off and you say, right, I'm going to get back in the saddle and work my way back up. And that's what I did. I went and took out 3 worthy opponents. Anderson Silva, the greatest of all time. Only person to beat him was Chris Weidman, and that's because Anderson was messing around. So listen, here I am. I don't care what anybody else thinks. The results speak for themselves, and here I am in a world title fight, and it's right there. All I've got to do is go out there and take it next Saturday.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Best of luck to both of you.
And we'll go next to Jack Encarnacio with Boston Herald.
I have a question for all 4 gentlemen. I wanted to start with you, Dominic, and ask the same question to everybody. But, Dominic, when's the first time that you recall feeling a dislike for Uriah Faber?
The first time I met him through a guy that is in the UFC still, Eddie Wineland. And it was all the way back in 2007, and he just had a smug arrogance about him right from the start and just didn't like him. And he probably felt the same about me, and it just never really stopped from there.
How about you, Uriah? What do you remember as the first time you thought negatively about Dominic?
It was, honestly, I always try to treat everyone with respect, and the first time was when I was signing those posters that we give away to people, and I just opened my new gym. I just had some guys that had gone and spray painted all over the building, and I was irritated by that. And then we get these posters that we take home, we give away to charity and give away to military and stuff like that. And Dominic had been signing his name over my face. So I just was like, this guy's kind of a little punk, and I just left it at that. And I honestly didn't think too much about him other than that first thing, and the fight was a short one, and moved on.
Thanks very much. How about you, Mike? When's the first time you remember thinking negatively about Luke? I know you've been calling him out to get to that title, but even before he had the gold, we heard some stuff. What do you remember?
No, listen, I don't really have negative things about Luke to say. Listen, he came down and helped me train one day, and we sparred, and then, I made some off-the-cuff remarks, about it, and, I shouldn't have said it, but I was only joking, in the cold light of day, I did come across as a bit of an arsehole, and Luke got a bit upset about it, and I understand it, and then from there, listen, we're as competitors, when you're going to fight somebody, of course it becomes personal. So if I'm going to fight somebody, I'm going to fight them. You know what I mean? And that means, being aggressive in my persona, in my abilities, everything. I don't lie in bed stewing about the guy. I don't wish ill will to him. All I want to do is win the fight. I'm a competitor, and just like Luke. And since then I've seen him around on FS1, on Fox Sports, working on UFC Tonight and stuff like that. Listen, I don't hate this guy. I don't hate anybody. I've got a good life. I'm just a fierce competitor, and that's all I need to be. So, I don't have no negative thoughts about Luke. He's a great fighter. He's a solid champion. He's had a great career, and I've watched him fight, and, he's a formidable opponent for sure. But I believe in myself. That's why I took this fight on 2 weeks' notice. I'm not here for a payday, for a title shot. I want to win this. When they came to me, and I was like, 2 weeks, damn right I can do this. I'll fight anyone, anytime, any place. That's the way I live my life. That's the way I've always been. And that's the way some of these other bitches in the UFC roster need to be also.
How about you, Luke, finally? When do you remember the first time feeling bad thoughts about Mike Bisping?
As far back as I can remember, I've always thought of Bisping as a, it's been enjoyable. It's been funny, clever.
Come on,
he's
Luke,
a
tell
dick.
the truth, man.
He's a funny, clever dick. And that's what he is. It's about, to a T what Michael Bisping is. He's always, shooting himself in the foot a little bit with the words he says, comes out of his mouth and things he says, and that's him to a T. To a T.
I'm a dick that's gonna whoop your ass in 2 weeks, though, buddy.
You're gonna dream about it. That's about as far as you're gonna get to winning.
Alrighty. How's that long camp treating you? That hard, grueling long camp. I'm coming here fresh as a daisy, buddy. Fresh.
You keep telling yourself that. Hey, Michael, I'm the shark.
Energy, man. I can't wait.
I'm about to show you and the rest of the world how far apart I am from the rest of the pack. I'm in a different dimension. It's gonna be.
That's what you thought.
Yeah, you too, buddy. It's funny you bring up Before of all people.
What I'm saying is,
and we all know the circumstances of what we entered. Hey, anybody can get caught.
Yes.
It's a different story. It's a different story. It's about how you come back. It's about how you come back.
I got caught last time. I won't get caught this time. Believe you me.
We'll go next to Richard Hunter with CBS Radio.
It's gonna. Hey.
Yes.
Don't worry about them takedowns, Bisping.
Hey, you tried to take me down last time, Mr. Kickboxing Champion. You tried to take me
Don't
down.
worry.
AKA. What was with that bullshit?
Hey.
What's with the body lock? Trying to take me down,
hey.
You can't get your hands on me. Could have landed the fucking glove.
Just to open you up a little bit.
Just the fuck up.
All right, next question, Luke. You're boring everybody.
Question for Dominic Cruz. Dominic, since your second fight with Uriah Faber in 2011, he's had 11 fights and you've had 3. Despite the injury setbacks that you've dealt with, is there an upside to this in terms of the fact that maybe you're fresher than you would have been had you been keeping up a busier schedule over the subsequent years, do you think?
I mean, really, it doesn't really matter about how many fights I've had because I've had good fights and I've fought the best guys in the division every time I fought. So I know what I am. I know what I'm capable of. I know how I mix things up. I know the things that I'm good at, and I know I'm better than him. So it doesn't matter how many fights he's had because the ones that could have gotten him a title, he lost, or anybody in the top 5, he lost, or anybody in the top 3, he lost. And I'm the champion. I'm the best in this division, and I always will be. And he's not going to be able to compete with me. I'm going to put a clinic on him just like I did last time.
And a question for Uriah Faber. In those 5 years that have followed since your last fight, you've obviously had a busier schedule. Do you think there's anything in particular that comes to mind that you learned from fighting other people in those 5 years that you feel like is something you would have liked to have had with you in that fight 2011 and, that will benefit you going into this third fight?
Well, I mean, Cruz keeps talking about the competition that he's faced and how high level it is. I fought with TJ for 6 years every day. It's not like
not when it mattered.
They have to face Mizugaki. I fought
you ran from TJ when it mattered. You ran from him. You left the division because you were scared.
Demetrius Johnson is a 125 fighter. I fought some of the guys that I fought that he hasn't faced. Ivan Menjivar, Yuri Alcantara, Michael McDonald, Alex Caceres, Francisco Rivera, Frankie Edgar, Frankie Saenz, Eddie Wineland, Rafael Sunsel. These are guys that I've fought. So,
and how were they ranked?
Top competition. I mean, I beat those guys. You know, Frankie Edgar was a 5-round fight. It was a close fight. So here's the question. Has Dominic changed much? I don't think he's changed much. He looks good still. He hasn't skipped a beat. I don't think he's leaps and bounds above what he is. I feel like I've put a lot into my game. I feel like I'm excited for this fight, man. I haven't been excited for a fight like this in a long time, and I always try to get myself up for fights, but you know, when you're the bigger name in most competitions, and it's always you're the favorite, you're the bigger name.
That's the reason I haven't liked until 7.
It's an interesting. It's an interesting psyche to get up for. When you've got Dominic Cruz, who's been getting on your nerves for 10 years, a guy that you feel like you could have very easily got the nod for the last fight time we fought, a guy that's very elusive and hard to hit, but I didn't have any trouble hitting him. I get excited for that.
Oh, my gosh. No trouble hitting me, man. You missed so much. And I'm going to make you miss again.
So much. Dude, I hit you. I did damage. When you hit me, I mean, we saw your highlight video you put on your Instagram. That was your highlight video, dude. It was like a couple of, dabs, my hair moving. That was it.
You got one punch hitter quitters, and that's it. One punch hitter quitters. The fact is, you didn't
really did
the face once.
Really? You're the analyst. Go back and watch my fights, bro. Go watch my
Come on,
fights.
man. You don't throw combinations. You don't mix things up. You're one punch at a time. You're one kick at a time. You go for a guillotine. You're an overhand right. You lead with the left hook. I could go all day breaking your fight down. I've been doing it for years, retired, basically, while you were saying that you were competing against the best. And then I came back and faced the guy that you ran from to go up a weight class. You were scared of TJ Dillashaw. That's why you didn't fight for the belt. Why wouldn't you fight for the belt?
God.
Why wouldn't you fight for the belt?
Unbelievable how distorted your reality is. I'm glad to see you guys are best friends now. That's fucking common.
I'm
You guys,
guy.
yeah,
I'm not his friend at all. The point is you're trying to switch it up. But why wouldn't you fight TJ for the belt? If you faced him already, why not face him? Because you were scared of him. You were scared of losing to the guy that you brought up in the sport. That's the truth.
I want you to think about what you're saying, bro. 41 fights in the game. I fought Jose Aldo. I fought Frank Yeager. I fought everyone under the sun.
You didn't train next to him every day.
Anyone, you think I'm scared of you? You can't even finish one guy in your whole career.
I'm not talking about me. I'm asking why you didn't face the guy with the belt while I was out.
He was on my freaking team, my main training partner every day.
That's a bunch of crap, man. Now you're talking about how you hate him.
Straight.
Come on, man. So
where do you get these? You try to interpret my life and my friendships and dude, mind your own business.
Friendships? That's how you treat your friends?
He's not my friend. You're not my friend.
So which is he? No, I'm not his friend either. I beat him for the belt that you were scared to face him for. You were scared because you knew that you brought him up in the sport, and you couldn't lose to a guy that you brought up in this sport.
There's a little bit of fear in me anywhere, because anybody that knows me my whole life, and I think yourself included, knows that I have zero fear, especially if a guy like you.
You should have faced the guy with the belt, because that's the guy that matters.
I don't care what you think I should do and should not do. None of your business what I should do. Worry about yourself.
And that's because you were scared about him.
Because I'm a loyal.
Lose to that guy.
I'm a loyal guy.
Loyal. Listen to the stuff you're saying about him now, Mr. Loyal. You got nothing but horrible things to say about him now, and that's supposed to be your friend. You're an idiot. That's the truth.
Oh my God!
You back up the words you say all the time.
Who told you that he's my friend?
You have. You've been saying that this entire interview. How he's your teammate and your friend, and now you're saying he's not. Which is?
No, I said he was my main training partner. What I'm saying, here's the one reason why I said that you
back
were
up on everything you say. You say something and then you deny it. That's what you do.
Because you look skinny fat. The reason I said you have love handles.
What are you talking about? I didn't just talk about that.
The reason why you're a little saggy.
Subject again. Talk about what?
The reason I said TJ looks skinny is because he looks skinny. Why don't you just mind your own business and prepare for a fight, dude?
I don't even know how you're switching the subject like that, like it's a trip. Like
switching what subject?
Trip, you're just all over the place, man.
All right, guys, I'm gonna jump in here. We're gonna take our final question of the day from Jorge Mundaca. Go ahead, Jorge.
Hi, thanks so much, Michael. We've talked about it a lot. It's been almost 10 years since you won tough. You had that great victory against Anderson Silva just a couple of months ago. What made you want to come back and take this fight? What was in your mind when you got the phone call and you said, you know what, I'm going to take this fight. I don't care.
Listen, just for clarification, I didn't get a phone call. The UFC got a phone call, and I said, if either of those pussies can't make the walk in 2 weeks, you know where I am. So that's how it went down. My confidence has never been any higher. I've never been performing any better. I'm still learning things about myself mentally in the fight game. I used to get too emotional. I really did. And when you're emotional, when you're angry, when you're frustrated or in a manic state of mind, you're never at the best. You're never the best version of yourself. So how can you be fighting at your best if you're too emotional? So these days I'm much calmer. I'm much just much more in the moment, you know, and just seeing everything come at me. So listen, I made huge leaps and bounds in the mental area. That's what allowed me to defeat Anderson Silva. And as I say, never been more confident. Luke's a great fighter. He really is. But he owns a victory over me. Obviously, that pisses me off. I want to rectify that. And of course, he's the champion. So why wouldn't I want to fight the guy? Why wouldn't I want to do that? All these people talk about wanting to fight for the belt, but then they're handed it on a silver platter and they say no. Jack Gray had a bit of a torn meniscus, okay? You can still fight with a torn meniscus, okay? So, but he said no. Jack Gray, whatever, great fighter, but didn't want the opportunity. All he had to say was yes, but he said no. And there you go. So here we are. I've got the shot, and believe you me, I think I'm going to be the world champion next week.
And a question for Luke. Luke, you go from one rematch to a different rematch. How do you change your mind frame from going to Chris to Michael now? What have you had to change in your training and your mind frame? What are you doing differently now than you did a couple of weeks ago when you were set to fight Chris Weidman?
I'm doing nothing. I don't care what any of these guys are going to do. I care about what I'm going to do. It's not that much of a stylistic change for me. It's less pressure. Gives me more time to set up my shots and pinpoint and put this dude away. You know, I think Weidman potentially could have got put away earlier. He rushes forward. He gives himself up sometimes and overcommits. Or Bisping's going to be a little more reserved. He's going to try to be tricky. He's going to give me that distance. He's going to try to push forward and close, of course, but that just plays right in my hands. So, you know, it's both orthodox, both decent stand-up. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to put
Weidman is slow. I am fast. That is a big, big difference here. Weidman's like he's moving through molasses the whole time. The slowest guy in the middleweight division. He can wrestle. He's strong. He's got a good chin, but he's slow as hell. And speed kills.
Agreed. But, you know, that's exactly. Speed kills, and that's what I'm at to showcase. Speed, timing, distance, power. I'm going to show it all. I'm going to put it on you. It's you're tough. You fight to your ability, but your ability is nowhere near my ability. It's going to be a bad night.
Hey, listen, Luke, and that's what makes it a fight. You think you're going to win? I think I'm going to win. I know I'm going to win. I recognize you're a tough guy. You're tall. You've got good range. You're athletic. But at the end of the day, I want this more than you. I want this more than you, and I've done everything I can. And believe you me, you ain't going to be able to handle what I'm bringing to the table. You're going to be backed up against that fence. I'm going to unload with a massive combination, and you're going to go down. You're going to go down, buddy. Simple as that. And you're going to be looking up, thinking, shit, I just lost my belt to somebody that walked off a movie set and whooped my ass in 2 weeks.
I'm going to give you a couple more scars for that movie career of yours. It's going to be good.
The scars make me look good, buddy. There's too many pretty boys in Hollywood.
I want to make this nice and sweet.
Hey,
nice and short and sweet for the fans.
Pretty boy dipshit. You fit right in. You would fit right in. Pretty boy dipshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, no humiliation.
I'll probably have to beat you up on the set later on, too. A couple years, no doubt.
Come and do it.
Yeah. One step at a time. First I got to whoop your ass. Hey, first I'll whoop your ass again in the cage, and then I'll probably whoop your ass on set.
Yeah. All right, very good. What about the time when I fucked you up in sparring? You're not mentioning that this time. What about that? You know.
Well, when I come in hungover, when I walked in your gym hungover and sparred you in the best shape of your life.
Oh, you're hungover. All right. Okay.
Hey, what happens in the cage? Hey, what happens in the cage is what matters, Bisping. And we all know what happened in the cage.
But
I knocked you out. Hey, I knocked you out and choked you out with one hand. One hand. I mean,
knocked me out. I was getting up, you asshole. And a one-handed guillotine.
Hey,
you got those long, skinny arms.
That's a knockout.
I pulled the one hand on Cruz too.
Hey, how much worse could it get? But it's gonna get worse.
But it is gonna get worse because a guy's getting off a couch and he's gonna kick your ass. 2 weeks, take your title in front of the world, and I'm going to remind everybody, I was drinking beers 2 weeks ago, and I'm still in better shape than you.
Doesn't matter if you had a full camp, if you had a half a camp. Hey, I could come off the couch
in better shape than you are.
Believe it. I love it.
All right, guys.
Come with it.
That does wrap up today's UFC 199 media conference call. I'm sure next week is going to be...
No, it doesn't, Dave Troller.
Whoa! Whoa, Mike Bisping. That does wrap it up. Thanks to Mike, Luke, Dominic, and Uriah. Next week kicks off in Torrance, California for UFC 199 open workouts. That will be followed on Thursday by Ultimate Media Day, and then our press conference. Just a reminder, we added a formal press conference so we can continue all the greatness from today's media conference call. Press conference next Thursday, 1 p.m. at the Forum. That is free and open to the public. And just a reminder, tomorrow here in Las Vegas, we have our open workouts for Almeida versus Garbrandt. That's here at the Harley-Davidson location on Las Vegas Boulevard, 1 o'clock. Thanks again to all of you who joined in. We'll see you tomorrow here in Las Vegas or next week in Los Angeles. Have a great day.
That does conclude today's conference. We thank you for your participation.
In Los Angeles. Have a great day.
That does conclude today's conference. We thank you for your participation.
In Los Angeles. Have a great day.
That does conclude today's conference. We thank you for your participation.